Zimbabwe is talking about one thing right now, not elections, not fuel prices, not even the economy. It's a wedding, or should I say weddings. But these are not ordinary weddings. These are weddings where millions of dollars reportedly changed hands, where luxury cars were gifted like birthday cards, where cash gifts were measured in hundreds of thousands and even millions of dollars. And while all this was happening, ordinary Zimbabweans were asking a very different question. How can so much wealth exist in one place while so many people are struggling just to survive? Today we're talking about the weddings linked to Kudakwashe Tagwire and Wicknell Chivayo, the outrage they have caused, and the uncomfortable questions many Zimbabweans are now asking. And trust me, this story is about much more than weddings. Stay with me. Let's start from the beginning.
This wedding is expensive, boys. Alright, when I say it's not saying I say I say oh no. Oh yes, already in 2026.
Reports suggest that the wedding of Tao Nanyasha John Tagwire, the son of businessman Kudakwashe Tagwire, became one of the most expensive and talked about celebrations Zimbabwe has seen in recent years. According to reports, the newly married couple received gifts worth tens of millions of dollars. Think about that. Millions, not thousands, not hundreds of thousands, millions. The reported gifts included cash, luxury vehicles, livestock, and even prime land. And it wasn't just one wealthy person making these gifts. The guest list reportedly included powerful businessmen, senior government officials, and some of the country's most influential figures. One guest reportedly donated hundreds of thousands of dollars. Another reportedly gave a luxury vehicle. Others reportedly contributed large amounts of cash. By the time people started adding up the figures being reported, many Zimbabweans were left stunned because these are numbers most people cannot even imagine. But then came another wedding, the wedding involving the sister of businessman Wicknell Chivayo. And once again, the headlines were filled with luxury. Reports claimed that cash gifts worth hundreds of thousands of dollars were handed out. Luxury Range Rovers were reportedly gifted. Videos and photos flooded social media. People watched, people reacted. And soon the debate exploded. Not everyone was celebrating. Many people were angry. Now, let me be clear. There is nothing wrong with celebrating a wedding. There is nothing wrong with being successful. There is nothing wrong with spending money you have earned legally. Most people would agree with that. But this story is not really about weddings. It is about timing, and it is about contrast. Because while these celebrations were taking place, millions of Zimbabweans were facing a very different reality. Many families are struggling with the cost of living. Food prices remain high. School fees continue to rise. Finding a job is difficult for many young people. Businesses are closing. Hospitals face challenges. And many citizens feel that life is becoming harder, not easier. So when people see reports of millions of dollars being exchanged at a wedding, it creates a powerful emotional reaction. Let me ask you something. Imagine a family struggling to buy cooking oil. Imagine a graduate who has been looking for work for 3 years. Imagine a pensioner who cannot afford medication. Then imagine that same person opening social media and seeing videos of luxury vehicles being handed out as wedding gifts. How do you think they will feel? Inspired, happy, or frustrated? This is why this story has become so emotional, because it touches a nerve. The criticism became even louder after opposition politician Nelson Chamisa reportedly reacted strongly to the displays of wealth. His comments quickly spread online. Supporters agreed with him, critics disagreed. But one thing is certain. The weddings started a national conversation, a conversation that goes beyond politics, a conversation about fairness. And this is where things become very interesting. Zimbabweans are not just talking about the weddings, they are talking about wealth itself. They are asking questions, big questions, questions that many governments around the world face. How do some people become so wealthy? What role do political connections play? Are opportunities available equally to everyone, or are some people simply closer to power than others? These are difficult questions, but they are real questions, and they are being asked every day. Now, let's look at the other side. There are people who argue that successful businessmen are being unfairly targeted. Their argument is simple. If someone works hard, takes risks, builds businesses, and becomes rich, should they apologize for their success? Should successful people hide their wealth simply because others are struggling? That's a fair question, too. Because success itself is not a crime, wealth itself is not a crime, owning expensive things is not a crime. So, where exactly is the line? That is what makes this debate so complicated. But perhaps the biggest issue is perception. Sometimes perception becomes more powerful than reality. If ordinary citizens begin to believe that a small group controls most of the wealth, influence, and opportunities in the country, trust begins to disappear. And when trust disappears, people become cynical. They stop believing the system works for them. They stop believing hard work alone is enough. And that can be very dangerous for any nation. What makes this story even more powerful is that it comes at a time when Zimbabwe is facing major economic questions. People want growth, people want investment, people want jobs, people want better healthcare, people want better schools, people want stability, and many citizens are wondering whether the country's wealth is being shared fairly. Again, these are not new questions, but these weddings brought those questions back into the spotlight. Now, I want you to think about something. What if these weddings had happened in a booming economy? What if unemployment was low? What if people felt financially secure? Would the reaction have been the same? Maybe not. Perhaps the outrage is not really about the weddings themselves. Perhaps it is about the gap between two realities. One reality where people are counting every dollar, and another reality where millions can be gifted in a single day. That contrast is what many Zimbabweans are struggling to understand. And this brings us to the most important question of all. What kind of Zimbabwe do people want? Do they want a country where wealth creation is encouraged? Of course. Do they want successful businesses? Absolutely. Do they want investment? Without question. But many people also want transparency, they want accountability, they want equal opportunity, they want confidence that anyone can succeed, not just a select few. As this debate continues, one thing is certain: these weddings will be remembered for a very long time. Not because of the decorations, not because of the food, not because of the music,